Maybe to you unknown, but you can call me Mr. X-rays, for I radiate, and my light of beauty brings out the invisible. That is my makeup, the who I am. I am the definition of safety, of the seen in the unseen, the savior of the motionless to unveil the hidden, the grand enemy of conquest, the well-being. I am the ambassador of the well-being of the futures. Now, the only hope of the embassy is to curb drug trafficking, for I champion the cause of unveiling what is hidden to the naked eyes electronically. It's like a tale of magical. I see within without cutting. What a puzzle. Now to you, it might be a marvel, but I am the radiographer, making the invisible visible. Now I am the eyes that glows to unravel the hidden. The song of the many, when the search of the hidden begins. Now I am the radiographer. Maybe to you, you might not even recognize who I am. But I am the radiographer. So they say, who am I, and question my impact of the multitude. I am the race, who never competes any race, for I am an ace. I am the radiographer, making the invisible visible. Thank you.
Honored to be part of this celebration, and not just being part, but to be the chair for the 124th anniversary of our common profession. 124 and counting. The year 1895, 8th November, when we had this great rapture, this great discovery by our founding father. The name, I leave it with you. And here we are, we have this successive graduation of medical imaging technology from plain radiography, computerized tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, mammography, sonography, radionuclide diagnosis, and so on. The list goes on. But the key rests in the discovery of the X-ray and what it can do. And as such, making the invisible visible. So it is very, very heartwarming to be part of this celebration, and most especially with the coming to being of the radiography and sonography program at the University of Cape Coast here, and being the founding head of department and setting up the program. So now I don't really know where my allegiance is. It looks like I'm more towards the radiography profession. And so be it. The theme, as we have it, your safety, our priority. The radiographer is promoting and maintaining safety culture. So, imaging, radiography can do good and can do harm. If we do not get the safety components right, then it means we can do more harm than good. So I'm sure the guest speaker will make justice to this theme, but I would just like to say that it goes to the core of the belief that we have as professionals that health promotion and the safety of our patients we have sworn to help, to secure, to diagnose is very imperative. And as such, we must not take it for granted what we have been able to achieve so far as the imaging community. We still need to improve on our standardization. We still need to improve on our safety measures, and it's a learning curve. So I'm sure the students here are going to learn a lot from all the proceedings. And gradually, as they aspire to become the professionals in the near future, they are going to actually believe and know that the safety of their clients is a priority. They are going to make and promote the safety culture through and through in all their endeavors. Thank you very much for the honor.
It is my pleasure to thank the Almighty God for this day and to welcome our members to the 124th World Radiography Day. I also welcome warmly our guests and thank you for honoring the invitation to be part of this year's celebration. Mr. Chairman, the 8th of November every year marks the day set aside by the world to remember the vital contribution to medical practice made by Röntgen in 1895, when X-rays were discovered and gifted to the medical world. There are some organizations and institutions that celebrate not just the World Radiography Day, but make the entire week a special one, marking it by events that underscore the role played by our noble imaging and therapy professions. It is heartwarming that for the first time in the history of our society, we are seeing Ghana Society of Radiographers and the various training institutions offering medical imaging and radiation therapy in our country collaborated in this year's commemoration of Professor Conrad Röntgen Day, which internationally is referred to as the World Radiography Day. There is much more to it than just an act of remembering the past. The celebration of World Radiography Day brings together members of the profession, both workers and students, and stakeholders. Unite all of us under one roof to take stock of the performance of the profession and strategize to reposition ourselves to be able to deliver better services to our communities. Further, World Radiography Day serves to promote the profession to future generations. Mr. Chairman, the theme for this year's celebration is Your Safety, Our Priority. The radiographer is promoting and maintaining a safety culture. Safety culture is an organizational perception that places an importance on safety, values, and attitude. And these perceptions are shared by the majority of people within the organization. It can be characterized as the way we do things around here. Safety plays a vital role in healthcare delivery. A positive safety culture can result in increased productivity, enhanced healthcare, and better safety for all. Mr. Chairman, permit me to reiterate the major subspecialties of radiography practice, especially for the benefit of our first-year students, the guests, and the general public. The diagnostic radiographer utilizes ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation to delineate internal structures within the body. The sonographer specializes in the use of ultrasonographic waves to produce diagnostic images of the internal structures within the body. The radiation therapists are radiographers who prepare and administer high doses of radiation from source material for mainly the treatment of cancer, whilst the radiologic technician undertake a wide range of conventional radiological procedures. Patient and radiographers' safety is very core to radiography, considering the high energy sources routinely developed and the complexity and advancing technology of our time. The principle of justification, optimization, alarm, among others, all point to promoting and maintaining safety. Understanding what influences the culture of radiography practice can make a significant contribution to changing for the better attitude and behavior of radiography professionals and students in relation to workplace health and safety. Safety can only be assured when people know what to do to avoid hazardous situations. Radiographers are therefore given the requisite knowledge to ensure that their actions lead to safe practices for themselves, their co-workers, and principally their patients. Mr. Chairman, while the Ministry of Health, in conjunction with Ghana Health Service, is doing everything possible to provide easy access and affordable healthcare to achieve the target for the Sustainable Development Goal by 2030, safety culture in medical imaging and radiation therapy is also worth giving critical attention to. We need appropriately trained professionals to handle patients safely in order not to harm the patient and also carry out quality control programs in our radiography department and units. Quality control can ensure that radiological images are of best quality and are produced at the lowest practicable dose of radiation to patients, and also ensure precise ultrasonographic reports. It is therefore incumbent on the ministry to resource the various institutions and therapy units to be able to thoroughly carry out quality control tests at regular times. Mr. Chairman, over the years, notable advances have been made to meet the growing and evolving scientific and critical needs of the population. The advances made with regards to radiography so far in Ghana are as follows. The University of Ghana School of Biomedical and Allied Health Sciences is offering a Bachelor of Science program in Diagnostic and Therapy Radiography and Master of Science in Ultrasonography. The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is offering the Bachelor of Science in Medical Diagnostics. University of Cape Coast is offering a Bachelor of Science in Diagnostic Imaging Technology and Diagnostic Medical Sonography. University of Health and Allied Sciences is offering the Bachelor of Science, the MPhil program, and a PhD in Medical Imaging. The Kintampo College of Health, under the Ministry of Health, is organizing the Diploma in Radiologic Technology. For the first time, Mr. Chairman, we are having a private institution which is coming on board with the Clintab University College, which is organizing the Bachelor of Science program in Radiography and Sonography. It is important, therefore, that radiographers will be pouring out of our training institution in high number, and so plans should be made to utilize that manpower for the benefit of the country. I also implore our colleagues to take advantage of existing opportunities to strategically equip and position themselves to influence future policies that will enhance professional practice among others. Mr. Chairman, permit me to thank the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Kweku Adjumamenu, and his able Chief Director, Nana A.J. Mensah, and the Chairman of the Council of State, Nana Otuo Srebo II, who helped in diverse ways in constituting the governing board to oversee the regulation and training of the 17 allied health professions which had been dissolved in 2017. And more so, to thank the Honorable Minister and the Chief Director for bringing to closure the attempt of introducing biomedical engineers to operate as diagnostic radiographers in the country. Mr. Chairman, Ghana is becoming a beacon in Africa with a fast advancement in radiography training and practices. It is therefore important that the society and the various institutions collaborate to see to the harmonization of the university curriculum and the nomenclature of the profession to reflect current trend globally. Mr. Chairman, the Ghana Society of Radiographers is appealing to authorities of GETFund and other stakeholders to provide funding opportunities to train more radiographers to become lecturers to enable future trainees get the requisite knowledge and skills that will be needed for the emerging future technology. I also take this opportunity to appeal to the Allied Health Professions Council, which regulates the training and practice of our profession, to facilitate the establishment of a postgraduate professional college to open up opportunities for specialization in our profession. The Ghana Society of Radiographers is calling on the Allied Health Professions Council to engage the law enforcement agencies, which is HIFRA, to raid health facilities and imaging centers of parks whose activities are injurious to the unsuspecting general public. The authorities and owners of radiological facilities should also desist from engaging unqualified individuals or non-clinical health professionals to operate clinical radiological installation, since it is against the law to practice without being registered. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to be Fidel Castro. This is the day of recognition and celebration of a dynamic profession whose contribution to medical practice are so invaluable. To better appreciate the importance of radiography, we need to imagine what medical practice will be without the advances made in the application of X-rays and other imaging modalities, as is happening in our era and for the foreseeable future. We salute the pioneers who honed out the radiography profession. I implore my contemporary to resolve to advance the profession through the safe application of our knowledge, experience, skills, empowerment. Whatever we do in the name of the profession may be appreciated today, may be appreciated tomorrow, or after when we are gone. Radiography should matter to us. We should not only do it for a living. Long live Ghana, long live radiography, long live Ghana Society of Radiographers, and thank you, and God bless you all.
The Domo Santer Salutaris, that is the home of health sciences. It is a big honor for us to be here and be part of this 124th conference of the World Radiography Day under the theme, Your Safety, Our Priority. The radiographer is promoting and maintaining safety culture. This is our maiden participating in which the World Radiography Celebration and the entire students' body of Clintops is very excited to be part. The Ghana Society of Radiographers, GSR, is the National Association of Radiographers and Medical Imaging Students Union in Ghana. GSR is the key stakeholder, which is a pillar in shaping the practice of radiography in Ghana, as well as training all medical imaging technologists of scientists. Hence, it is very important for Clintops University College to be here to deliberate on issues and policies relating to medical imaging practice. We wish to congratulate the leadership, organizers, and the entire GSR fraternity for their commitment to continuous commemoration of the World Radiography Day in Ghana. I am also very pleased to announce to you that Clinton University College is delighted to partner with you in ensuring the success of this 124th edition celebration. We would only like to make a humble appeal to leaders of GSR to consider the name. And I repeat, we will only like to humble appeal to the leaders of GSR to consider the name and maybe amend it to Ghana Society of Medical Imaging Scientists to encompass we the sonographers. It is worthy note, with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, that the number of formal medical sonography training institutions in Ghana is increasing by day, and this trend is likely to continue. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, education, especially higher education, with specific reference to medical imaging training, is undoubtedly the pivot around which development of high-quality medical imaging diagnosis revolves. Ghana is no exception. As the saying goes, in quote, he who diagnoses well treats well. Therefore, medical imaging practice in Ghana is very key in the provision of quality healthcare delivery that we all aspire. Mr. Chairman, the theme for this year, World Radiography Day celebration, that is your safety, our priority. The radiographer is promoting and maintaining safety culture, is very actual. And we, the students of Clinton University College, is very happy to associate ourselves with this team and to be here to participate in this conference. We were very expectant that we would learn a lot from here that will enrich our medical imaging education as we are currently receiving from Clinton University College. We hope that the deliberation here today will shape our attitude and perception regarding safety issues for our practice.
And proud to be with you on this auspicious occasion of the 124th World Radiography Day celebration. I wish first of all to thank the organizers for choosing Central Region for this important event and inviting me to be part of you as a special guest of honor. I truly accepted to be here, and I've had to cancel very important national assignment. At this very moment, I was supposed to be going with the Deputy Minister for Health in the tour of the Central Region. But I told him that these are special people to me. Most of you, most of you I have interacted with and worked with. There are some, your Vice President is here. The time I was in the Upper West Region, I still practiced medicine. Anytime I had an X-ray, I told him that it's none of my business to attempt interpreting the X-ray. You should do it. And that is how I worked with you till date. As I sat here, you saw me take a call. I went out from the Deputy Minister for Health. And he said, I should not forget to extend his greetings to you. So greetings from the Deputy Minister for Health. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, let me at this point just quickly remind us all that there are 77 different professional groupings in the health sector and still counting. Let me repeat. There are 77 different professional groupings in the health sector. And yours is one of the oldest. If you remember that it started 124 years ago. Which therefore means that your relevance in the general scheme of things depends on how you behave and how you stick together like the molecules of mercury. If you behave like the molecules of water, you will self-destruct. And you yourself will agree that when we started, there were very few aspects of the use of X-rays. Today, as I sat down and listened, it is no doubt that there are many different aspects that have emerged in the course of this short period. That is why I think that division should not come in. If I give the example of Ghana Medical Association. In the medical association, there are different variants. You heard them say, I'm a public health physician specialist. I'm a public health. We have internal medicine, we have surgery, we have ops and gynae, but the common denominator there is medical. Chairman, we are all aware of the history of radiation, which your president and then the chairman adequately reminded us. Somewhere in 1895, a German physicist by name Redgen discovered a new form of radiation, and because he didn't know what it was, because it could pass through other things, unlike light, he said, oh, if you don't know something, it's X. Those of you who remember the algebra in school, find X. So he didn't know what X was. Over the years, somehow, the exceptional qualities of this strange rays became very useful now in the field of medicine, research, literally everywhere. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, there are different variants. And I was so happy to hear you say, making the invisible visible. And I want you to maintain that, making the invisible visible. Doctors used to have a joke about themselves. We used to say the surgeons know very little, but they do a lot. The internal medicine person knows a lot, but does nothing. The pathologist knows everything, but comes 1 minute late. It reflects how we are seen. Today, you can ask the radiographers, make invisible things visible. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, today is set aside worldwide to celebrate this wonderful discovery and its use in medicine. The theme, the radiographer is promoting and maintaining safety culture, is most appropriate. I want to go back to your safety, our priority, and say I prefer to say the radiographer is promoting and maintaining safety culture. This is because the Ghana Health Service that I work for has a motto which we are beginning to regret for. Your health, our concern. How come? Our health, our concern. When you say your health, our concern, it creates dependency. People can become careless because you said their health, your concern. So the safety here is our safety, our priority. I would suggest that. It's very appropriate as it seeks to bring to the fore the dangers in working in this particular area of yours. Let us remember the journey so far from the old-fashioned X-rays where the big machine, after that wash it, go and dry. I remember there used to be one particular machine called fluoroscopy. Extremely dangerous. I used them before. And then all that. And to be honest with you, Mr. Chairman, you yourself, you know, when we met, at the time people like him went to do the course he did, most of us thought he wasn't very normal. I was one of them because anytime I had to go to do fluoroscopy, I was so worried about you must understand medicine, must understand physiology and what rays can do. We are lucky today, we've gone a long way and then is safer and safer. Ladies and gentlemen, every work has risks, every place. But the healthcare also has its own risks. If you work in a laboratory, you handle hazardous biomaterial. But to my mind, your field, until recently, was the most dangerous. The danger was so inherent. That is why the emphasis of the team fits in appropriately. Complacency is an ever-present threat in safety issues. In every industry, and if I will move away from medicine, those of you who've ever sat in an aircraft before, in case you don't know, air travel is safer than road travel. Air travel, there is no way a pilot wears his salt will fly from here to Accra, and from Accra fly back without going through what they call checklist. The checklist is to emphasize on making sure that everything is checked and ticked to ensure safety of the pilot and the passengers. Unlike the cars, those of us who drive cars, who drove today, how many of you checked your engine oil? How many of you checked your tire pressure, your brakes? Nothing. We just get up and then enter, bam, you are going. When you arrive there, you are going by the same procedure. And that is what we think is not right. So therefore, the team is promote. Promote is to facilitate, to make possible. And safety to ensure no harm is ever done. And culture, make it part of your life. Make it part of your life. That's the safety culture. It's not only safety. Your team is about inculcating everybody in this industry, and I may dare add, in the health industry, but particularly yours, to have this culture inbuilt in you so that as soon as you wake up, you know that safety of you and your clients is the first priority. And that is why I think that it is most appropriate. In the radiation industry, the term safety culture first came into prominence after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in the USSR then, now Russia, in 1988. You all remember that. And recently Fukushima in Japan. Since then, the concept has been embraced by several industries to improve safety at the workplace. That's the work culture, the safety culture. A safety culture is therefore an organizational awareness that places a high level of importance on safety, values, attitudes which are shared by everybody in that organization. Ladies and gentlemen, I am speaking in this way as a representative of the Ministry of Health. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Health and its agencies. So don't expect me to give you a technical definition of presentation because I'll be preaching to the converted. I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that I associate myself with what you are doing today. Organizations that want to have positive safety culture should develop and encourage workers with the right knowledge, skills, and attitudes to successfully undertake the responsibilities of safety at the workplace at all times. Progressively, our health care sector is becoming aware of the importance of transforming organizational culture in order to improve patients and staff safety. And patient and staff safety requires more than rely on the workforce and well-designed work processes. It requires an organizational commitment and paradigm shift. In recent times, advances in imaging modalities such as what you all know, MRI, ultrasonography, and all that, and non-ionizing alternatives have made your place a lot more safer. However, the significance of these had caused the world to come up with guidelines that will protect the staff and the clients. At this juncture, I wish to commend you for having this commemorative event and to suggest that going forward, you consider it also as part of a professional development agenda, CPD. And I also want to commend you for putting this up and then particularly engaging the students who are yet to come. Catch them young so that you can bring them up to be with you. So the students here in gathered, you are welcome. May you take this opportunity and look up to your senior colleagues. In medicine, we call it senior numbers. If you see them, pick them one by one and use them as your role model. If you have a bucket of water and you want to share with somebody, the other person has to kneel down or bend down so that you can pour your water into it. So you students, you have your empty buckets, make them empty, and you lower yourself so that the senior numbers can pour into you. I'm also happy to hear that you are introducing a public lecture as well as a quiz among the various institutions. Please let us do it with a view of sharing knowledge, devoid of division, and then quarrels. I've already mentioned, when we are divided, we don't stand the chance to be relevant on the scheme of things. Chairman, I want to commend you in particular and to encourage the rest of you to do all that you can during such fora or even in your own workplace. Document local lessons learned so as to enrich and document and improve the knowledge base of radiography in Ghana. And as the president said, it's imperative that we as professionals contribute to the guarding of our profession for which we have labored to become who we are. And here I'm considering the issue of quacks. Please let us come together and support HIFRA. HIFRA has its own limitations. You will notice that most of the offenses are done by my professional colleagues. And I'm sorry about that. Most doctors, as soon as they have an ultrasound machine, they put it somewhere in a marketplace or in the garage somewhere and start practicing. We must all just be civil. Stay in your lane and do what you are allowed to do. But this, Mr. Chairman, all will depend on what you contribute to the law. Remember the gentleman who had a breach with the law, Dr. Obinfo or something like that. He went to the court and the Medical and Dental Council lost the case. It was a simple case of poor preparation. So if we help, we'll be able to guard our profession jealously. And before I conclude, I want to say, when you have sessions like this, it may be imperative you get some rapporteurs to put together some key issues that will come up as some kind of a communique that will come to some of us who are at the Home Affairs or pass them to the ministry. In this case, in a situation like that, then you will be speaking one language, and then the issues that are peculiar to you as a professional groupings will find place on the health agenda. And finally, Mr. Chairman, I've always had a philosophy in my life. Knowledge, skills, and competencies in themselves are meaningless unless they ride on the back of passion and positive attitude. Knowledge, skills, and competence in themselves are completely meaningless unless they ride on the back of positive attitude and passion. I want to encourage you all to take this as your guiding principle and then develop the right attitude insofar as the cardinal central key issue in what we do is the client. In conclusion, I want to say that may God grant us the serenity to know those things we can change, the humility to accept those we cannot, and above all, the wisdom to know the difference. On this note, Mr. Chairman, President, members, I wish you all well. May God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Radiography work closely with the GSR, and we started to identify areas where quacks are or quack-infested facilities and see how we can eject them, just as a high energetic photon can eject an electron and induce photoionization. So we also thought that, yes, it's because radiography subsists on physics, because the real science of radiography is physics. So, working with the GSR, we decided to identify these places and then post our 2019 intents. So we want to thank GSR for accepting to work with us. And not only that, they also financially aided our national service interns to travel wherever they did go. Thank you very much, Mr. President and the society. So in dealing with the quacks, one effective way is to accept postings. I grew up in Tamale. That's why I like the very last dance, which is very northern. So I'm a northerner, though I come from a BTV, but I'm a northerner. If my father had not accepted postings to Tamale in 1967, I wouldn't have known the beauty of that place and the hardships there, and to appreciate life. My fellow radiographers, please agree to accept postings wherever you are sent to. Otherwise, the quacks will grow in number and the impact on healthcare will be very devastating. Therefore, please accept to go wherever you are sent to. This year, working with the Allied Health Professions Council, we sent 4 + 1, 5 people to Upper East. 4 of them are in, say 3 or 4, how many? 4 of you are in Bolga. So you can see that 4 of them, they've not been to that place before. Please get up and so that they will see you. Yes. So 4 of them are intended for 1 full year under the heat in Bolga. 1 of them is sent to Boko. Next year we'll send about 10 of them there. Yes. So everybody will know the impact of this. Right? And there are many places. So please accept the postings wherever you are sent to. Be willing as a national, as a citizen of this country, be willing to go anywhere you are sent to and then offer your best service to the glory of God and to the good of humanity. In so doing, I want to appeal to my fellow or my colleague HODs in other universities. Can we do a joint collaboration with this? So we can together identify where the quacks are. It is sonography. I know that at least there are 2 of them in Boku who want to study. So we can identify where the loopholes are, and collectively, as one common institution, that is University of Ghana, UCC, UHAS, TEC, whatever, together, we do a uniform posting. Then we work together, and with time we'll be able to eject all these quacks. And not only eject them, but also provide them good training. Some of them are willing to repent of their sins and to be trained. My department has trained in the last 5 years about 2 or 3 of them, and they are doing very well. So some of them, though they are quacks, and they know they are quacks, they're not females, though they pretend to be females. They are willing to be educated. So those ones, Mr. President, let us have a look at them once again and see how we can integrate them into education. Kintampo College of Health Sciences is there. I think maybe that would be the first point of call. Those who don't have the requisite academic qualifications per first degree admissions, we could send them to Kintampo. I'm not belittling Kintampo anyway, because the requirements for BSc admissions are normally higher than that of the diplomas. So maybe the first point of call will be maybe Kintampo. And then when they're qualified and they are well-groomed, well-trained, we can then invite them into doing the BSc programs. And in that way, we are able to tackle the issue of quacks and make our health service delivery wonderful. Thank you.
My name is Lily Kwakupom, PRO of the Ghana Society of Rediographers. It's been good mostly. We've had challenges There are things that we need helping with to make the profession stand out and to contribute more towards healthcare in Ghana. So we are here today to celebrate 124 years, to acknowledge how far we've come and how much further we can go. So currently, for qualified radiographers, we are looking about 300 qualified radiographers in Ghana currently. Yes. So currently, as at now, we are in deficit. The demand is high, the supply is low. So we would encourage that stakeholders would invest more into training more radiographers to remove the unqualified people who are practicing, especially in the hinterlands. When it comes to the major cities, you see a lot of radiographers manning the machines, but when you travel up north to Upper East, Upper West, and the northern regions in particular, we see that there's a very low number of radiographers there to offer quality healthcare to patients. Currently, what and some of the health institutions have done, especially the University of Ghana and the School of Allied Health Sciences, they've come together with the Allied Health Profession Council and then the Ghana Society of Radiographers and other stakeholders to be able to post some interns to places where we think are very deficient in having radiological services. So that has helped in a little way to mitigate the lack of radiographers. Now, for a long-term solution, we need more radiographers to be trained. That means more health institutions and more funds need to be pushed into that agenda so that we can get more qualified radiographers. And of course, incentives for people who travel out of the major cities to provide healthcare to the more needed or the more needful patients who are outside the major cities. There's no education and awareness about the program in the first place. Usually when you talk to a lot of first years or SS graduates, they have very little knowledge about healthcare courses, especially radiography. When it comes to allied health professions, there's very little education and awareness that have been created. So if you do a more of career counseling, education, awareness, telling people that these are alternatives or these are good professions that you can actually go into, then it can encourage the young people to venture into those fields. And then we also have to dispel the myths, saying that if you practice radiography, you'll be infertile or you get cancer. There are occupational hazards, but those ones are well looked after so that you are safe when you're practicing in a radiation area. If you're doing ultrasound, any kind of service you are giving to a patient, you're safe as well, you're protected. So I think if, like I said, education, incentives, awareness, and of course financial support, so that more universities can provide, more educational institutions can provide these courses for students so that they can offer them. They should learn hard, they should try to, associate themselves with mentors, people who have practiced radiography for a while, and then they shouldn't get involved in helping in the training of quacks, because what happens is that it's professionals who train these quacks who are able to do these examinations even though they are not qualified for it. So I will encourage them to be dedicated to their studies, and once they get into the profession, they should practice good professional conduct, ethical conduct to move the profession forward.
My name is Prince Roxon, the National President of Ghana Society of Radiographers. Today we have met to commemorate the 124 World Radiography Day. And Ghana, so far, radiography, which is the professional grouping that uses radiation and non-ionizing radiation to visualize human structures within the body for diagnosis and treatment. And we use the same X-rays to do treatment of cancer, have had a lot of revolution. Things have improved so far. When you cast your mind back when we were doing X-rays and drying films outside, now the technological advancement that has come, we are able to do the thing and you have your report instantly. We have modern ultrasound equipment that have come into play, even with what Ghana Health Service has done in collaboration with the TB control program. We've deployed a lot of digital X-ray equipment to the local areas where they can detect TB conditions as well. And if you look at education-wise, we used to have X-ray training program, which was a certificate program, and the government of Ghana those days brought the degree, which is the allied health, and now we have progressed to the first degree. Now we have moved into the second degree, and God willing, we are doing the third degree, which is the PhD, which is the advancement that have been made to in tune with global trend and the new equipment that are coming. We need to be abreast with some of these things. And looking at the sustainable development goal, health for all, radiographers are playing a very key role in that SDG, of which His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the ambassador. We are also really supporting that. And some of the challenges that we are facing now, before that, I have to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Kweku Agyeman-Menu, and his Chief Director, and the chairman of the Council of State, Nana Serbo II. Last year, we were crying that we're supposed to have a regulatory body. The board that will regulate us should be constituted, and God willing, having a listening president, we've been able to have the board that can now regulate our activities. And so we are just looking up to their activities to be on board now, because we have a lot of unqualified people in the country, and these people are posing threats to the life of our people. The theme that we chose today is an international theme, that our safety, our priority. The safety of my patient is my priority. So we are looking at what are some of the best measures that we can take, and then make sure that my mother in the village can have best radiological services. And that is what we are drumming home now, that the Health Facility Regulatory Authority and the Allied Health Professions Council should come together, now that the board is in place, to make sure these health facilities that have unqualified people should be sacked. Now you can see the number of students that the various universities are coming out with. UCC is producing a lot, KNUST, University of Health and Allied Sciences, there are private universities also coming. The Ministry of Health have had a long-term gap that we need to build and break that gap by introducing the diploma program, which will also train the lower cadres into the system. Then why then do we use unqualified people in the facility for the safety of our patients to be compromised? Now we are saying that the numbers are in. Let all those private facilities not go for money and think that they want cheap labor, and then it affects the livelihood of our patient. The x-rays that we don't see does not mean it doesn't have effects. They have serious detrimental effects. But because we are not seeing it, people try to do anything. But this time around, the law and the way the profession is growing, we are red alert to make sure that these facilities will not have it easy using unqualified people. We want to assure our mothers, our fathers, our pregnant mothers that, look, the ultrasound that we are going to be doing for you, they should be safe. We are going to sack those people who are giving you the wrong diagnosis and saying that you have ectopic, you go and open up a patient and there's no ectopic. It is not right. So we are going to make sure all these things will be a thing of the past. How can these people have the best practices? It's through training. Now, when you look at the various universities, how many lecturers do we have to beef up this thing? It's a problem. The human resource capacity for training is limited. So we are appealing to government. The GET Fund should be made available. University of Health and Allied Sciences, which is organizing a PhD program, they can have local sponsorship so that people can go there and do the PhD, and then we use them. The essence of the Allied Health that came in, his former president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, President Kufuor, he brought the Allied Health. He realized that the people moving to outside for training was so expensive. So let us have the training in Ghana so that the cost will be less and we'll have a lot of people to be trained. Now Kufuor's vision that of doing that is what we are benefiting now. Other than that, then you have to train 2 people every 2 years, and then now we have PhD in Ghana. Why can't the ministry GET Fund provide those scholarship availability for students who want to do the PhD, and then they come out to become lecturers and teach properly to our radiographers, and we have seasoned radiographers, and then we move to the next stage in our academic life. We started that when the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service in particular, wanted to bring in a group of people who are not trained by the allied health law, the biomedical engineers, to work as radiographers. We took this case up and we were going to court. And fortunately, the Minister of Health called us and put a halt to it. And we want to give thanks to the minister. We know that once we have leaders who are listening, we'll keep a red alert. These quacks in the system, this year, we've been able to send radiographers for internship to the hinterlands, and we've monitored them. So wherever there are quacks, we try to put a radiographer there for internship. It means that eventually that radio quack is going up. So that is what the university is collaborating with the professional body and the Allied Health Professions Council to keep an eye, because we go and supervise them. So to keep an eye on facilities where we have quacks. Once that is reported, there is a committee called the Profession Specific Committee of every professional group. They are the eye of the society. They tell us there are people here who are not qualified, and then we report to the Allied Health Professions Council. The laws are there, and fortunately, the leader is listening. And once we want to go by the law, everybody stops it. The challenges that we have now is accommodation. You know, these are radiographers who have come out and they just started. They are not taking any salary, and the ministry is not helping them to secure an accommodation to start up life. Somebody who just completed the university, you say you go and rent a place, but other professional groups are being given some favoritism, which we felt is not good. So this year, like the society had to even give those who were going for their internship transport allowance for them to travel to those places. They go there and they are not giving them accommodation. And that is one of the problems that is really frustrating. I worked in Sunyani Regional Hospital. When I went there, the medical director gave me accommodation. I was happy to work there. And leaving there to my next station, I wasn't happy to move, because I was treated as part of the team. But when you begin to segregate, this is better than this, that is where the teamwork doesn't come in. So that's one of our biggest challenge. But if government can look at accommodation as a rural incentive for radiographers or other allied health professionals, I think this issue of quackery will be put into bed.